Welcome back. You are joining us deep on Ancient here in the jungles around these temples. And George, dual Berettas are out. Jedka is going to bring them into the foray here. It is USPs around those dual Berettas and potential for them to get a bit of a whirlwind going. He's in towards the house. GODSENT starting the T side here, and Sparrow has already let rip onto one. Lato falls. Sparrow's taking quite a bit of damage in return, but now those dual Berettas find absolutely nothing. Barton and Phelps chime in with a couple, and GODSENT now look to try and overwhelm this site, get the bomb planted, but Sparrow is still going to be tapping away on these fools. Gets another kill for himself, but Taco now steps in. 2 kills come through from him. He's left with 5 HP. Barton's left with 1 HP. It's only Phelps who has any sort of meaningful health. And now, with teammates being lost, Dink's coming through, and Marcos now on 2. It's going to get finished off by Barton, and GODSENT will pick up the pistol.
Who needs HP when you've got headshots, Dan?
True.
No need to worry about it. I mean, you saw that run right there. I mean, Phelps just swings out immediately down to 2 HP. So, perfection, really. Absolute perfection. Unadulterated beauty coming out of the GODSENT side. And that's something they didn't really show any of on their map pick of Overpass. I mean, on that, they kind of... Excuse me. They kind of showed really nothing. Didn't get any pistol rounds on the board. Didn't really have anything to write home about. The rounds they did win were a little bit flagrant at best. So I think here to see them now going with a pistol round victory, it is imperative that they can convert it. Not least, sorry, for the game to be a success for them, but more so for their own confidence and their own self-belief. The damage already being distributed out here on towards the A site. Doom out, just peppering Sparrow. Little does he know there's also a player into the top right corner of the site as well. So I guess that's part of the reason why GODSENT have not elected to go into the A site just yet. Don't necessarily feel too confident with that push as of right now. But it seems that they're going to start reamassing their resources in towards middle and this A site, looking for some kind of pinch. Taco is trying to get it deep in behind enemy lines. He's been spotted once. PHR's just around the corner. Easy first frag, but now he's surely about to get peeked by a number of them and maybe have a number done over on him. He holds the spray on towards the scout player. Both of them, in fact, as Jedka then chimes back in to try and get one more. Marcos now, solo hold at the back of the site, gets Phelps, but cannot get anything more. Temple soon becoming a problem as they surely have spotted a player back there now. Bomb plant will go in. Jedka, last player remaining. Armor on him, but it's not long-lived because Lato is on the case. 2-0 start for the GODSENT side. Bomb plant on top of that too. So they're going to be feeling pretty good about the way they negotiated that force by round. And you've got to imagine that for Wisla, it's going to be a pretty stinging and sorry result.
Got at least a couple upgraded pistols here to try and do what damage they can. Keep the GODSENT economy in a somewhat low state. Marcos brings out the Zeus again, George. Will he find anything this time? He's going to play it over by the donut for now. Oh, well, you're a bit of a pessimist in that regard, aren't you?
You know it.
You're not wanting to champion the Zeus supremacy?
I just don't think it's... I like it on maps like Overpass or maps like Nuke, but I feel like Ancient doesn't necessarily have too many of those like tight, kooky 90-degree angles. You know what I mean?
Feel ya. I always love the Zeus though, and PHR loves a Deagle shot. He rips belting out the server. He does take a nade in return, down to 16 he goes. No armor to protect him from the shrapnel. Maybe Marcos is going to have a go with the Zeus soon as well, because there's a player starting to push him through the donut. And are they going to clear for him? It doesn't look like they are. It doesn't look like they are, Marcos. Oh, never mind. He was looking the wrong way, George. He was looking the wrong way the entire time. And unfortunately, he does pay the price as now GODSENT just starts to clean things up. Jedka does slide in from a close angle that they weren't able to clear initially. But yeah, quick trades. 3 players alive. Just Goofy remains. 1 versus 3. And he's going to try approaching through a main. No real guns he can pick either. I imagine he'll get finished off pretty quickly here when he takes the peek. Oh, okay. Nice shot on the P250. I'll give him that. But no more.
It might well be a nice shot, Dan. It might well be. But it's inconsequential. I'd like to remind you of that. It's no good getting excited over things that just don't really matter. No, I'm just messing with you. That's what we do for a living, Dan. We get excited over things that don't matter. It's just a game. Why do you have to be mad? Anyway, Dan. I'm not mad. Vizsla are.
I
Vizsla are
wouldn't
at the
expect
moment.
you to be.
Well, I mean, I was kind of mad about how both teams played their respective map picks, but I got over that pretty quickly. The angle was
third map decider.
Yeah, the angle was short-lived when I realised that we might yet see more car crashes on Ancient, which would be interesting. To be fair, this hasn't really been the highest quality best of 3. I don't think there's any reason to sugarcoat it from either of these two teams. Often you can have like series in which both teams, when you're playing like these tier 2, tier 3 teams together. I mean, we cast a lot of these kind of guys. And often we see absolute outright bangers with actually really high quality Counter-Strike mixed into it because under pressure, diamonds are made. And at the moment, I've got to say, neither of these two teams have really been living up to that particular adage. And it has been a bit of a, to use a MOBA term, clown fiesta at the moment. But either which way, hopefully Ancient can provide something better. It has done so far. A little bit more diligence being performed out of GODSENT at the moment. Admittedly, they have lost Taco inside this round. That was the AWP through a very slim margin once again. Now it's going to be a little bit of a hit in towards this B site by the looks of things, leaving Phelps to try and catch some strays out towards middle. Unfortunately, the stray bullets are what's going to catch him. Sparrow also standing guard on top of the B site is not going to be a match for Lato. I was going to say that he might well be, but Lasso now trying to find a small window in which he can get this bomb planted, getting hailed by bullets, but again, not enough to take him down until he walks into the side room and meets PHR, who is not particularly welcoming to his trespass, as now Dumao will desperately look for ingress in towards this B site. Meanwhile, Marcos and Jetka are both going to be looking to try and find frags on it. I'm afraid that nade is not quite going to be good enough, but not by itself it won't be. The spam is perfect. Now more of it coming through from Dumao. He's got the lineup absolutely sorted, and he's cooking with gas. No kit, like you say, but the spray is just slightly off, and Marcos doesn't know how much time he's going to have left, so elects to just try and save it away anyway. What a great round from Dumao. Presence of mind from the young man to have that HE grenade, chuck it over, pair it with the spam too. Absolutely sensational from the GODSENT man.
He does die to the bomb at the end, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit amateur.
Yeah.
Was avoidable. Was completely avoidable.
It was very, very avoidable. But, I mean, I'll let him off because it was a very nice 1v3 clutch. And, you know, the best clutches, George, the easiest ones are the ones where you don't have to actually peek the enemy. Obviously, he did get that first kill onto the guy who pushed side room. But, yeah, in the 1v2 from that position on, never actually peeked in towards the site. Nothing you can really do it from the CT side to sort of mitigate that. And already Barton is just spammed out through the smoke, taken down Goofy. PHR wanted a little bit of a peek towards this. He's going to back away. Sparrow's going to get caught towards the side house, and it's just all going wrong initially for the Wisla side, although there is finally a kill from Jetka in return. Takes Phelps out of action, but already Darren's done. 4-on-3, and Wisla. Now what do you do in this situation? You got Marcos alone towards the B site now. You're going to try and swing Jetka towards mid to try and cover off the sniper's nest and leave PHR towards A solo. If Jetka wants to go a bit more aggressive for him, he's probably going to get caught out by Taco, who's just around the corner, waiting for his time to strike. God, it's tantalizingly close, George. But now Jetka starts to make steps, and Taco hears that he's just going to start chasing. But Jedka's still watching for it, knew that he might bait in the peak. And that's a huge kill to find, because now it leaves it in that 3-on-3. Marcos as well is doing damage. He gets the kill towards Barton as they push in towards the site. But the instant trade is there. Now does Jedka try and push through. He does actually catch Lato. Dumao now left all alone. Can he pull off another clutch? Is PHR alone against Dumao? As he tries to creep in through the side house, Dumao will back away towards the ramp. And the timer starts to tick down again. PHR, no kit. Again, Dumao has that nade, yeah. And I think with no kit, no head armor, Dumao probably wins this one out. PHR trying to clear out all of his angles. He'll drop a smoke on the bomb. Dumal actually isn't going to play that game. He's going to lay down a few bullets into the smoke, and now he realizes PHR isn't on it. He's just going to toy with the two. Knows he's won the round, and another clutch won by Dumal. This time, he takes a more frontal approach.
Yeah, just going to play it front up this time. Not going to hide behind cover with the bullets raining on through. Not even going to use a grenade this time to finish the job. Just says he's going to take matters into his own hands. It's like Thanos, not using the Infinity Stones. Just going to try and do it in hand-to-hand combat. Because he can. You know? Why not? Because he can. And proving it in the best possible way. Wisla are now going to find themselves in a bit of a weird patch. I think they can buy, but obviously Marcos, PHR, and Goofy are not going to necessarily be on an M4. I'm looking at maybe SMGs or a FAMAS. I'm also hearing a lot of clicking, which never bodes well, because clicking means that people are typing in a chat, and it's a technical pause, I'd imagine. So hopefully we can find out the nature of the technical pause sooner rather than later, or even better, it can just be resolved. That seems to be the case. So no worries, Dan. No worries. I was panicking for a second there. I was worried.
Anakin's panicking.
Anakin's panicking like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Don't know what other words rhyme with that.
I don't know.
Don't know. Don't know, Jeff.
I'm thinking, but yeah.
I'll get on Rhyme Zone, shall I?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I'd love to hear some more rhymes to panic in. It is just a bit of a half buy here for the Wisla side. They get a couple M4s for it, which is actually interesting because Jedka and Sparrow invest quite a bit more into this round than their counterparts. Well, than the rest of their team, because that's going to actually kind of impact them in the next round if they don't save these weapons or win the round. It's going to be very, very difficult. PHR, just a deagle in hand for him. Oh, this is awkward for him now. He's burning. That's not fun. He does find a little bit of safety, but unfortunately it doesn't last long when Lato's peeking around the corner and the Glial finds 2. Dumal takes quite a lot of damage, though, down to 5 HP. We want to be careful on that one. And unfortunately, Jedka's going to find 2 of the M4. Marcos gets one as well. P250 up close. And now it's actually the man advantage for Wisla. Jedka spams off a little bit early and actually gets caught by Taco pushing around the back through the temple. And with support from Phelps, they can still win this round. Sparrow has that M4. Marcos has the P250, though. And unfortunately, that's what does the dirty work and finally gets the first round on the board for themselves. And this is the sort of rounds we saw early on Overpass where GODSENT just drop. And it's like, you cannot be losing rounds to pistols and a couple M4s.
And honestly, Dan, on Overpass, this was the beginning of the end when they lost rounds to this exact kind of buy, when they were back and forth with Wisla for the early portions of that map. They end up crumbling as soon as they kind of got hit by a buy like this. It was demoralizing for them. I mean, I suppose it was a damaging packaging that ended up causing them to leave panicking before they were ravaging and trafficking and vanishing. There you go. There's all the rhymes I could find. Maybe it's time for them to look towards examining and averaging the situation. Andy, tools of the internet. Glad you're here for it. Yeah. As another handy tool of the internet is not going to be the M4A1S. That's just a handy tool of Counter-Strike, and it's working out perfectly. Finding all the necessary kills for the CT side to accrue their second round. And it looked relatively easy. Of course, 2 men falling in the process isn't really anything to bat an eye at, especially when it was GODSENT bringing in a pretty aggressive buy to that. But that's something they can't afford in this round, Dan. They weren't able to get a bomb plant, so they are going to be a setback quite a fair amount. And GODSENT will have to take some kind of an eco here. Well, they'll have to decide just how conservative they want to be. But I would advise, not that I'm a financial advisor in any way, but I would advise probably be quite conservative. Be as conservative as you can. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It should just be 5 lambs to the slaughter in this round.
Well, Sparrow certainly wants to make it that way, wanting to get as much cash as he can on that MP9. Unfortunately, does eventually get caught by Taco. We found 2 kills. That SMG pays off its cost plus a little bit extra. Actually, no. 1250 for the MP9, so $50 short of paying that one off. So yeah, $600 per kill, always good. Now for the GODSENT side, they'll just see if they can maybe pick up another kill from the situation. And anything would be nice here. The bomb is still out towards sort of outside of A main right now. You got a couple players working inside of B for GODSENT, seeing what they can maybe find. But it's a weird situation because you got players on the flank here as well. Jedka is going to catch off the bomb rotating in, surely. As well with finding the kill onto Lato. That makes life very, very difficult for GODSENT. 40 seconds, long range. Taco doesn't have armor with MP9 either, so it's just a super, super difficult fight for him. Jedka does actually get dinked down as Phelps tries to assist, but I mean, it's still really not enough, as now Marcos will step in, relieve Jedka of his duties, keep him alive, make sure they build up a little bit of cash here from this round, and get themselves the third on the board.
Third on the board certainly feels good for Wisla. They've got quite a fair amount of stuff. And again, Dan, we're seeing the same trap that GODSENT fell into a number of times on Overpass. Rather than just waiting or being a little more conservative and getting the buy that they actually really need, they're going for the next best thing. You can see they're going to be bringing in 2 Galils into this round, a distinct lack of utility that is going to do very little to trouble Sparrow over here. That Molotov isn't really going to dislodge him. The smoke's got a massive gap in it. The flashbang is good enough to get rid of him for the first port of call, but Jedka and Goofy are both here in tandem. Now, this is all a carefully constructed distraction, but only so much so that PHR can deal with 2 over on the B site and elicit a whole hot-footed rotation. Taco has a lot to do before Dumal gets here, and unfortunately for Taco, Sparrow and his teammate are going to get here quicker. Goofy on the patrol. He's also got one more player out at middle they need to be considering. That's Marcos. First peek comes on in, and Taco hasn't even spotted it, but thankfully it's the AWPer, and thankfully it's a missed shot. Now it's giving Dumal a chance on the kit. With the bomb goes Sparrow, and this time Dumal is not going to be the master of the 1 versus 1 on the B site. This time, pros don't fake.
Yeah, Dumal took a risk. Doesn't pan out for him. You can't win them all, unfortunately. And for GODSENT, that's now 4 in a row they haven't been able to win. As they will take the time out. The bomb plan, the extra $800 on top of the $2,900 they got from that round, it's not going to give them massive amounts of cash to play with. And actually, they're going to go for the investment here. They want to see if they can go for this one. Lato's going to be wielding the AWP again. And for this GODSENT side, you're in a bit of a weird situation. Phelps and Barton maybe just go for Galil so they can get a bit of extra utility through. Dumal can go for the AK if he wants. But that's what they'll do here. It's going to be GODSENT. Putting all their eggs in this basket. We'll see if it's going to be cracked or not. PHR just spot a Taco out towards mid and actually takes a decent chunk of damage in return off the back of the opening damage he found. Now Goofy wants a piece of the action, but unfortunately for him, Phelps is good for the kill. A bit of spam through the wall, not really connecting all too much, just makes the players in the site a little bit uncomfortable. Smoked off, they can't really progress in towards his B site. But you can tell that Jedka feels very uncomfortable where he is right now. Molly's and the utilities are raining down around him. But he has been able to tuck himself in to some relative safety for the time being. And George, Lato down on 2 HP. Obviously with that AWP, you can still find damage though with that weapon. You can still ring off those shots, get the instant kills. And now, Jedka's just burning. He's blind, he can't see, and Lato finishes him off. Sparrow over towards the A site has been aggressive to find a pick on towards A main, takes Taco out of action. Now he's going to swing back around to try and stem the assault from the donut position. He's not able to hit the first shot on that time of asking, but now there's going to be players pushing in from his teammates here. PHR looking for what he can, and he's able to get so far deep. He's just ransacking the B site, the A site rather, and now it's just Lato and Dumao, but Marcos is left alone in return, and somehow they've come out on top, GODSENT. A bit of an awkward situation. But Marcos will find a bit of utility to work with here. He has the kit. He's going to drop a smoke, and both these players are positioned in towards the donut, but Lato has it lined up. 2 kills for him in the round. And it's GODSENT finally breaking the duct and putting an end to that Wisla streak of rounds.
Yeah, about time as well. I mean, it looked like so many times in that little spree that GODSENT could have had a chance to break it, and they didn't take that chance. I will say, I think this is actually a really 200 IQ timeout. Like, you know, you don't often see people taking timeouts after they win. Now, that's not something you see all that often, but I think when you do, it's just a good way to kind of set yourself in and go, right, boys, we know we can do it. We know we can take the win when times get hard. It's something we've struggled with on Overpass, but we've just proven to ourselves that here on Ancient we can. And we need to carry this momentum through. So here's the plan for the next couple of rounds. We're going to lay this out. We're going to get the lay of the land. We're going to feel them out until they are broken, down and bleeding. Unfortunately, Wisla have decided, Dan, that it's also time to bring out the double AWP setup with both AWPs glass cannon. I hate this.
Well, you're going to have to endure it, George. Because that's what we've got given to us here in the 11th round. Dumao is now wielding the AWP for the T side. So there's that. Whether you like it or not.
I think that's nice. Yeah, great. But at least he's got armor. And it's not 2 of them on his team.
Yeah. True. Really on GODSENT. Like they want to try and get Dumao into a position to pick off somebody with this AWP. Boosted it up onto the box. Not able to find anyone for the time being. Although Sparrow is inching in towards the sight line. And Dumao will find the kill. Huge kill to be finding as well. Sparrow, that's the first of the AWPers gone. Now it's up to Goofy inside of the site with an MP9 to try and hold the onslaught of GODSENT players back. And he does actually do well for the first. Takes down Phelps, but now he's low on HP. And where's the rest of these GODSENT players? He needs to push forward. The flashbang, it did blind Taco up, but he still finds a shot anyway. Jedka now wants to try and push through. It's just a bit of carnage, but unfortunately he has to hold back. And I think they'll just save these rifles. Maybe Jedka tries to find something with his SMG here, considering he is already pushed deep close to the site. But I think the AWP and the M4 are just going to be trying to save this 3-on-4. That's a good, nice kill, though. Krakow, again, blinded up. But there is a trade back. As Barton eliminates that threat, as we can see, there's nobody else really challenging for this one. So GODSENT will find a 7th. And this T-side looking pretty good so far, George, all in all. Obviously, there was that 4-round streak from the Wisla side, but, I mean, GODSENT, they've been able to remedy the situation, and they've got themselves back on the winning path.
Yes, sir. They have indeed. Back onto the winning path, and already at 4-7 on the T side. I'd say that's a pretty good piece of success right there. Of course, there's going to be a saved rifle this time around from PHR, along with that AWP, not to mention a force buy, or at least a purchasing, a splattering of Desert Eagles coming in from the remaining 3 players for Wisla. But I don't think that's a massive problem. I think GODSENT here are more than able to deal with this one. They have good weaponry, decent utility. This should be a good round for them. They already take one of the rifles off the table with a very quick assault in towards the A site. Already also dealing big damage towards Marcos on the AW.
What?
What? Oh
Martin,
my good. Oh my goodness gracious.
Like, I mean, it wasn't like... It looked like he shot as he pulled out the smoke. It almost looked like he misclicked.
And got a kill.
To shoot. Yeah. Okay, reasonable. I mean,
yeah.
1 bullet, 1 kill straight through a smoke. Reasonable, if you ask me, as
GODSENT
do find that 8th. Yeah.
Vac, boys. Big Vac.
Yeah, big old Vac. No.
I
do not endorse it.
I just, yeah. Yeah. Whatever, you know? You know what I mean? Whatever. I don't get it.
Doesn't matter if you get it or not, George. This is the reality we live in right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is Barton's world.
We're all just living in it.
Yeah. And with the GODSENT side finding pretty decent success here. If Sparrow can catch this, that would actually give them a fighting chance in this one when you consider Goofy's position that catches off Phelps from the back line. And now Tacos now realizes he's stuck between a bit of a rock and a hard place. And both of them happen to be Wisla players. He just about spotted Goofy there, but not able to find the kill with the spray down. It's Wisla actually able to recover a pretty important round there. Things were starting to get out of control towards the A site. Sparrow slides in, just about removes the second player alive at that point. And Goofy as well. Or the third player alive at that point, rather. Then Goofy takes down the second player. And it sort of falls into place. Taco maybe could have just pushed deeper in towards the site. But he wanted to try and change things up, make them think about where he might be coming from. Don't blame him. They have enough cash for the rebuy here. Taco's left without utility, but they have plenty elsewhere. No AWP, though. And that's a weapon as well that the Wisla side don't have, George.
True, Dan. True. Oh, big damage already being dealt. Phelps is now sat inside of this smoke, just waiting for a player to emerge from the side room. That flashbang has done little to trouble Sparrow, though. Doomau, thankfully, is there for the trade, and now Molotovs and the like are starting to rain on in. But unfortunately, there's just one big problem, and it's Jedka is not covered off. No smoke, no flashbang, no Molotov to stop him from even peeking into that corner. They just hoped that nobody would come in. The power of Christ compels you. It compels you to do what? Peek. That's what it compels you to do at this moment in time, Dan. Now, Taco and Lato have a lot on their plate. Two very healthy CTs, one not so healthy CT, who's now a whole lot not healthier. Lato with a lot of heads to find, and unfortunately can't even scalp the first. It is Wisla to grab their 6th as we move into the final round of the half.
Odd one, to put it lightly. Odd one that they don't cover off the sort of angle that's not smoked or anything. That's a very, very weird one. I can only imagine it's because they'd already traded a player there. They maybe didn't expect a second player to peek from that sort of similar angle. But yeah, that's a bit of a blunder from GODSENT. Honestly, they were in a really good position in that round, and unfortunately, it all falls apart. They lose 2 players in the blink of an eye, and now they're left with scraps in this final round as Wisla look to try and put a 7th on the board and make it a very, very close first half. But they do have a couple of rifles at least. Marcos, though, with the AWP is finding success. He gets one. Can't quite catch on to any more, but now Jedka slides in, and he is finding all of the kills required. Just Barton remains with 1 versus 2, and he is finished off as well. And George, that puts an end to the first half. GODSENT do hold an 8-7 lead. But in the final map of this series, it's going to come down to the second half, and we'll be back with it after this short break. Almost ready to get going here, George. I think we're just about ready to get going, in fact, because we're heading back in, and it is going to be now GODSENT taking their turn on the CT side. You see them with the 1-round lead. We'll see if it's going to be enough to convert this best-of-3 series. Dumal with the kit, Lato, a little bit of utility. Actually, they've got 3 smoke, or 2 smokes on that GODSENT side, rather. A couple bits of utility around it, while Wisla, they have a smoke, a flash, and a molly at their disposal. A P250 as well, upgraded for Sparrow off of the Glocks, but now the hit comes in towards his A site. Barton wants to find as many shots as he can, gets one, but he's lost his life as well as Dumal's. And now Taco wants to try and swing in towards the site from Temple. A few wayward shots, but he eventually finds the head of Sparrow. Brings it back into that 3-on-3 and a winnable retake here. They have no kit, though. There is one dropped inside of the site somewhere that they can work with, but now with Phelps gone, that makes life a lot more difficult for this GODSENT side, and they're still being pounded, they're still being wrapped around as well, as now it's just Lato 1 versus 3. Nothing really he can do in this situation apart from just try and find what he can. But unfortunately, what he can is nothing. It's a nice round for Wisla, getting the pistol on the board and tying this game up early on.
It's finally down a close and good map. They've traded pistol rounds. They were 8-7 at the halftime. It's all going the right way for me. It's all looking nearly perfect, you know, but not quite there just yet. I mean, we've still got a long way to go. Still got another, 14 rounds of play to be taking, and Wisla are going to be taking a timeout here in order just to settle their nerves. Doing what GODSENT did, taking a timeout after you win, is actually never a bad thing. Well, contextually, obviously. I mean, if it's a close game, I don't mind taking timeouts after you win. I think establishing your positioning towards the second half is never, ever a bad thing. Making sure you're nice and ready, making sure you're feeling good, making sure you've got a plan, I think is the main thing as well. Making sure you're all on the same page. But of course, GODSENT now on their CT side, arguably the better of their sides on all the maps in which we've seen so far today. Indisputably the better of their 2 sides, as we saw on Nuke. So maybe there is something to be said here for them once they can get their feet planted into this half. Maybe they can put their foot down, stomp out any insurgencies from Wisla. They're going to be taking the full eco here in round number 2, so they can get those buys up as soon as they can on that CT side, which I don't really hate. I love it when teams take the conservative approach, get the guns up nice and early. That's my personal favourite. Really gets me going.
There, it's nice. It was a bit of discipline. Now, obviously, Wisla will just be hoping to find as much damage as he can with that SMG. Sparrow's already found one. Potentially 2 more to come his way if he's quick on the trigger. Unfortunately, he spins a lot there. Doesn't find many bullets, though, onto the opponents. As on either side of him just quickly pick him off. Quick dinks on the USPs, in fact. But, of course, it is just a MAC-10, so not really a massive weapon that Wisla will worry about in at this round. Well, actually, okay, things get a little bit damaging in terms of a couple of kills found in the round, but Wisla still pull it off. 3 players surviving, the minimum you sort of want in a situation like that. Would have preferred to maybe keep the 4th player alive, just because now you have GODSENT bringing in this full buy. You don't have massive amounts of cash for a couple of these players, so yeah, you're in an awkward situation. If GODSENT win this one, that is.
Yeah, well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We're not there yet. There is still a chance in which this one can be nicely sorted out. The chance, of course, in which Wisla just take this one and give themselves a nice big chunky lead, which is obviously on the cards. I mean, they've been looking okay in this map so far. I won't say that either team has been looking fantastic, but both teams have been looking A-okay. I still think there's a lot to be shown, and it's good to see that even for the Wisla side here, where they've typically had somebody, at least on every one map so far, very absent, they've actually got pretty much everybody here except Goofy, which is, hate to call him out, but, you know, there's not many frags on the map to get when Jedka's got 22 and Sparrow's got 16. I feel like having 6 is not really all that big of a problem when that kind of fragging's going on from Jedka. Meanwhile, on the flip side of things, it's once again a very holistic effort from GODSENT. Just Phelps bringing up the rear at the moment on 9 frags, but again, don't hate that with the holistic fragging efforts going on there. And with Barton picking off an easy headshot like that one, well, making it look easy, I should probably say, because it's not, by any stretch of the imagination, easy. Taco now can get called in, with Duma also in a decent position here to try and hold off against this push. They're going to allow the plant to go on in momentarily, but Taco does chime in eventually and now has all the room in the world to work with Phelps surely about to spot one out through middle, and this should surely be the round put to bed here. Goofy has to do a lot, Marcos has to do even more, and unfortunately, it's going to fall to Marcos in a 1 versus 4. This gun round so far for the GODSENT side has looked immaculately clean, just 2 casualties in it. And a nice defuse to go. Leaving that one player out towards B and Phelps was really, really handy to catch in that mid-rotate. They expected it. They knew it was coming. Good presence of mind from the GODSENT side. They've been doing their research.
As you should. As you should. Pause comes through. It looks like it's a technical pause. So hopefully it won't be a long one. Hopefully we can get back into things right sharpish. But yeah, GODSENT, they've now pushed this with their economy into, as you can see, a bit of an awkward position where you have PHR Marcos, $5,500 and about $5,000 respectively for those two. So they could purchase up, but then you look at Jedka, Sparrow, and Goofy, and you've got like almost no cash. You've got 2,500, 2,200, and 3,300. And that's just not going to be enough. I suspect they'll probably... I mean, it'll be $1,900 coming in as lost bonus. I suspect they'll probably maybe purchase up a little bit from PHR and Marcos and then just save the rest of these players and go for the full buy in the next. Allow GODSENT to 10. If you can find a little bit of damage with whatever upgraded weapons you bring in, maybe a couple SMGs or something, maybe a FAMAS on PHR. But yeah, I think that's just what you have to do here. If you go for the force buy, you're potentially giving up a 11 to 9 scoreline with not massive chances of winning this one to get 10 yourself.
So this timeout seems to be taking a little bit longer than expected, Dan. I think it gives us just a moment to ponder and reflect on GODSENT really and the rise that they've had. I think. Okay, let's ask you this: are you a fan of this team? Do you characterize them nicely? Do you think they're a good project? I think personally, let me give you some insight. I think they've got some. I think they've got good pieces. They've got clearly defined stars, clearly defined supportive elements, and a veteran who's been around the block and he knows what it's like to swallow his pride in order to make sure that other people are enabled in the server. So I think if there was ever a personality that I would want mentoring young Brazilians outside of Fallen, it would probably be Taco. So I feel pretty good about this team as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned a sort of similar thing over in the pre-show way back before the start of Nuke, and I sort of mentioned that this GODSENT side, obviously they've had a bit of a rough patch here when they've transitioned over to playing some games in Europe at the moment, and I think as long as they've learned some lessons from that, and it seems like they definitely have when you take into the consideration that the sort of map they're putting up against Wisla right now, obviously not maybe the biggest of competition in this conference, but still, I think if GODSENT are able to sort of get through this sort of rough patch of European sort of games, they'll come out stronger, and I think they could really be a formidable force when things start to get a bit more back to normal, perhaps. And they can come in sort of hot and heavy with the sort of EU teams and the CIS teams as well.
Yeah, I also think that, we are on a bit of a double-edged sword with North American and South American teams at the moment. With the weakness of the region as a whole, there's no way that they can really play against one another and get better. I mean, the level of teams over there is just so weak at the moment that it kind of negates further progress. I mean, Team Liquid hasn't really been spending all that much time in North America, partly because the lack of good practice is quite stark, to be honest. Evil Geniuses haven't really been considered good practice for quite some time. And
Evil Geniuses don't have a roster anymore. So.
Well, that's also true. And aside from that, your options are otherwise limited for practice partners, really, in North America. So I think for GODSENT to get over to Europe for a while, I mean, even with the major and still with EPL Conference, I feel like they've got a good chance to really hone their craft. And that is a brilliant frag from Barton, and he doubles down on it, in fact. Speaking of honing your craft, the entire team has just honed in on this round. And this one is going to be a hot yee well played for me, Dan, because Jedka, whilst he might be able to get 1 or 2 for this one, just won't be able to get anything more out of this one, I'm afraid. Yeah, goes out towards middle, takes the fight with Phelps, who he knows is going to be there. Been playing that angle pretty much religiously so far in this CT half whenever they go towards the A site. And GODSENT just shuts them down. Wisla really not having the best of times of it in this second half now because they're about to be relegated to the Pistols, and that is far from what they wanted.
That is what I suggested would probably happen. This lose out in the fourth buy and now have to take the eco here. So you're left with it at 11-9 rather than 10-9. Before you get that full gun round through. But you know, they took a risk. I respect it. Doesn't pan out, and now they have to pay the price and pay the toll, perhaps as well. But that's only Ferric Andre's about.
I don't understand.
Oh, damn it! I was holding my breath, George.
I know who Eric. What? Run me through the joke again. I'll see if I get it second time around.
The moment's lost, George. The moment's lost.
Never mind.
It'll be forever lost in eternity. And now Phelps trying to get a few bullets off, not connecting for the time being. Doesn't really want to stick around too much. Knows that if he's caught isolated, he could very well get caught by these Glocks if a few of them push through those doors. So he's got good support near him though. He's got a player on either side. Latto's ready to peek around the corner if Phelps encounters trouble. You've got Dumau up towards the excavation ready as well if things get a little bit too hairy, but this is a very, very slow round, and now Wisla are just going to start hemorrhaging players at this point. Latto finds himself 2, make it 3, potentially a 4-fish. Sparrow just 22 HP, wants to try and peek around the corner, but it will be Phelps who actually catches that one. So a lot of waiting for a lot of nothing there, George.
Yeah, big time. GODSENT get it done either way, and I suppose that's about as best as you can hope for. I think for Wisla here, the buy coming back is going to be the best thing they could hope for as well, Dan. 5 AKs across the board. Doing much better than what GODSENT typically were bringing on their T-half. Remember, they were going for Galils and Mac-10s and just buying wherever they could, really. Even when the finances didn't necessarily support it. So it's good to see that Wisla have a little bit better management over their finances for the time being. GODSENT, of course, at the moment are also looking pretty spicy with their residual cash for a CT side. I mean, Taco having $6,400 is actually pretty good. And Phelps here is looking to get a little aggressive. Now, if there's a gap to the right of this smoke, it could be devastating for him, but it actually plays into his favor. Thankfully, Goofy is there to mark a trade, but Latto does not allow it to stand for much longer. Immediately pulls that frag back. PHR grabbing Taco on a little bit of mid-aggression as well, and Dumau is just looking to try and rip that one back as well. But again, not going to be offered up. Wisla just playing a little bit more conservative about this one now. I feel like we are starting to get into that trap, though, Dan, with Wisla like they were playing on Nuke. Playing a little bit too slow in these early rounds, and I feel like once GODSENT get a little bit of a read as to what they're doing most of the time, they'll be able to exploit it a little more accurately. You can see they're already trying to be a bit inquisitive about it, and I think PHR this round was the safety net for that. I'm intrigued to see how many of these players are going to be perplexed by this fake over towards the B site as well. I think Dumau has just figured this one out. Bomb plank going down over at A, and the rest of the squad will be forced to rotate any minute.
Dumau doesn't really want to reveal himself as of now. There's not many chances for him to hit a shot through that smoke. It'd only have been maybe onto the bomb planter, but it was kind of tucked around the corner, so not the best of chances there as Marcos.
This is a good angle.
Actually kind of pushed. Yeah, I like this. It's kind of aggressive, but he needs coverage towards the donut. Otherwise, he's going to be a little bit in the rough here, and now Lato finding his teammate puts him in an awkward position. But there you go, he strikes, gets the first, trying to spam onto the second. He's alive, has to flip out the Glock, and the Glock can't quite do it, but I think it's done enough for the round. Not enough time on the defuse, and Barton will go up in a cloud of smoke.
Damn, that shot, that first shot with a little amount of ammo in the clip onto the player pushing around his left-hand side. If they get that, and he doesn't have to engage in the pistol fight, then maybe that's a round for GODSENT. But no, it does so well. And Wisla just squeak their way into another round victory. I mean, that is by the slimmest of margins, mind you. I mean, admittedly, the bomb plant wasn't, but the mid portion of the round was. That rotation could have been done a little bit quicker, I feel. Dumao was in position for quite some time and yet didn't elect to strike. And again, maybe just a window of opportunity goes missing. But speaking of going missing here, Dan, the same thing has happened to Wisla's money. They'll all die despite getting a win and a bomb plant. Therefore, the reinvestments are pretty hefty. You can see there are 2 MAC-10s. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, obviously with the bomb plant there, you don't get as much as if you lose a round off a bomb
Exactly,
plant.
yeah.
Because you only get the extra, I think it's $250 if my memory serves me correctly. That's not a stat you have to pull out all too often, but I think it is $250 as it's just aggression. And it's actually really, really good from GODSENT. Just aggression from 2 separate angles, and they've locked off the other players here as well, as Marcos tries to push through alone, and he's going to be biting the bullet too. Bullet towards PHR, 1 versus 3, although the only forces them out a little bit. He's able to push around the corner. But,
what is going on?
How is PHR allowed to have that fight against Lato? What was Taco doing?
I don't know. He tapped him in the back of the head, and then
to smoke.
He tapped him in the back of the head, then did nothing.
I know, it's like he was trying to tease him. It was like, yo, look at me.
Hee hee, turn around, leave my teammate alone.
Giving him a friendly. Not gonna leave his teammate alone though, was he?
You know that thing that you do sometimes where you tap somebody on the shoulder and then you appear at the other shoulder, so they look over the wrong shoulder.
Oh yeah.
That's what Taco was trying to do.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if he'd maybe gone for the jackass approach, tapped him on the shoulder, and then just like had a giant boxing glove in the face on that side. Yeah.
Well,
I think that probably would have been the better option.
I think Dumao has gone into your philosophy this time. It's just instead of a boxing glove, he's gone with the M4A1, which I feel is probably slightly more dangerous, just as a hunch, you know. And I don't think there's going to be much in this round by way of victory for Wisla. Nice headshot, but not quite connecting for a frag for Barton. On the AWP for Barton here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense when he's a solo anchor towards A, because you can play the tempo really nice with an AWP.
True.
But I don't know if it's worth sacrificing your main AWPer for it. I think if you had him on a secondary AWP, that would be nice, but I think you still want the primary AWP in there as well.
It's true now.
But a brief foray into victory again there for the Wisla side, and now GODSENT back on the winning ways, and an aggressive push from Taco. I love that, but Jedka. Oh, Jedka's in a good position. As the smoke will fade to maybe catch one of these players escaping. Over the top, he takes down Dumao, and he gets Taco too. Or both, indeed, George. And he might even get Phelps here too, but no, low HP, nade. Might finish off Jedka, should finish off Jedka, and will finish off Jedka. So 3-on-3, all in all, despite Taco's good aggression towards mid there.
3-on-3, Dan, is probably the least comfortable situation that Wisla could find themselves in right now. Every round is going on the knife's edge, and I think the last place they want to find themselves is on a 3-on-3 knife edge. Grossly uncomfortable for them, and Phelps is about to make it even more so with a headshot on towards Sparrow. Thankfully, there is a trade. The Galil of PHR does ring true, but Lato ready on the backside to try and catch PHR. Now Marcos is alone, 1 versus 2. He's actually got to press through. He has no other options here. Just has to move forward. Little do they know that he is coming for them. Guys, you need to check your flanks, check your corners. Just make sure nothing's going to go wrong for you. Marcos has made his way through, but you are going to pass each other like two ships in the night. Just consider this as an angle, please. Now they know. And Marcos, oh, so very close. Lato just comes out with the victory in the end, and it is by a very slim margin. Just 19 HP, that's the difference. One bullet is all it takes. And GODSENT find 14 and send Wisla spiraling back into some weird economic pit where some players have got money for AKs, other players have got money for Galils. You imagine they go for something here, just unsure as to who's going to go for what.
Oh yeah, this is awkward. This is awkward now for the Wisla side. They've had a good go of things here on H, and it's been the closest for this series so far, and there's the potential for a little bit more here, but GODSENT are eking the lead out just round by round at this point. 14-10 now. They are almost at 16 and almost picking up a win in this opening match for the two teams at the ESL Pro League conference. Obviously, loser does not get eliminated, but they do get sent down to the lower bracket where things get a lot more high stakes. And unfortunately, Lato has just laid out Jedka. Gets good damage as well through the smoke onto other players, and he's just picking them off one by one. There's not really any utility for this Wisla side, as now Phelps gets a bit of the action. Taco's in with one, and it's Sparrow all alone, 1 versus 4. And the most he can do is to finish off Phelps. It's 15 for GODSENT, and the money is in dire straits for Wisla. You've got a few $1,000 per player, and you'll try and get what you can. A couple AKs, the Galil for Goofy. I imagine a Galil as well for PHR, and Marcos comes through as well. So really not much. And you can look at the utility. Well, George, it's 4 smokes, 1 flashbang, and 2 Molotovs. That's what
weak,
you have
isn't
to
it?
work with up against map and match point.
Dan, it's almost as weak as my arms. Genuinely, like
Yeah.
that's a pretty weak buy right here.
You always skip arm day.
I always skip every kind of gym day, Dan. I don't even attend.
Yeah.
Phelps is really not going to struggle to find a frag here as he enters into the round. Another HE grenade about to land in. That is going to be doing as much damage as I thought it would. Sparrow not going to really be afflicted by that all too much, but now Phelps gets afflicted by Jedka, who's taken his teammate to the grave as well. So on a little bit of a Brazilian killing spree here, Marcos finally reawakens and gets quickly put back to bed, as Doomout gets on towards a beloved AWP, something he's not really had the privilege of using all that much in this series, aside from Nuke, really, which is upsetting because he was very good with that. Now, Bartin over at Donut gets his head absolutely quashed, leaving it a little bit overexposed on this A site. That's going to mean that there's going to have to be some kind of rotation here from one of these two CTs. Instead, they elect to pull both. Not sure whether I like this all that much, but again, we have all the information on the HUD, and they do not. Jedka progressively clearing the site over at B. Second by second, they are establishing that it is increasingly more clear. I think if this bomb gets planted and GODSENT are not in close proximity, I think they're just going to have to save. No movement being made, Dan. It looks that way to me. GODSENT resigned themselves to the fact that this round has just gotten away from them. It slipped through their fingers. Dumao and Taco are just going to take a chill pill and wait for another chance. They've got more than enough money, I'd assume, to do so. I mean, Dumao are going to have a little bit of loss bonus from this round, so he can drop out to one of his teammates. Bartin can buy for himself. Taco can drop out to probably 2 of his teammates if need be. So I think we're okay here for the GODSENT side, financially speaking. Just for this round, though. Any more than that, and they might be stretching it a little thin.
Yeah, just to update you on the other matches as well. Extra Salt have actually taken the victory 2-1 over Sprout.
Damn.
I believe that was the A stream covering that one. And then Renegades have taken the 2-0 over the Mongolian side of Renewal. Over on the B stream. So, a couple interesting... Well, I think Renegades Renewal. I think most people expected Renegades to be taking that one. Extra Salt Sprout. That's an interesting one. Sprout not able to live up to initial expectations, perhaps. I think that could have been an interesting one. I think Sprout definitely could have taken that map, or match, rather. But unfortunately, Extra Salt, with Floppy in the roster, looking pretty hot by the looks of things. And now, back into our game with 15-11 the score on the door. It's Phelps in towards Excavation. The molly to the right side means that they're going to hard clear the left side, and Goofy takes him down instantly. There is good damage done in return, and Lato will want to try and at least trade back if Sparrow does push in. Flashbang forcing off the angle for a moment. Actually, he's just going to drop a smoke. Doesn't fancy re-peeking into that one. And probably for the best, because the molly came through as well. But this is a very good position. 2-man advantage. Yeah, you've taken a lot of damage onto Marcus and Goofy here, but this is... I mean, you definitely trade the damage for 2 kills in this situation. Actually pulled all the rotations from GODSENT over towards that B site. Just as Wisla starts to look over towards the A site now, and I imagine GODSENT probably save this one again. I think they were gambling B, and when the bomb's planted, I guess they'll probably just save B as well.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the call.
A couple of them fours alive, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be the call. Otherwise, there's just no buy. Otherwise, it's just no money. And GODSENT waste another couple of opportunities to close this game out before it starts getting towards overtime territory. So I think you have to take the save here. You have to. I don't think there's really many other options, and I think Wisla are going to be more than happy to take the fight to you on a hunt. I see no reason why they shouldn't at least commit 1 or 2 of these players. I mean, if you can, you give yourself such a freebie. Just don't think they're going to be able to get close by the looks of things, though. The boys be chilling, and I'm afraid that GODSENT are going to be chilling quite a lot more. Over towards that B site, they're going to be tucked in for the night as the bomb will explode. Dulcet sounds of detonation get through their brains, and Wisla find themselves at 12 now. Just tickling their way up there, aren't they, Dan? They're getting there.
I mean, I'm not sure I agree with the dulcet sounds of detonation.
Yeah, well...
That's an odd one.
Sometimes, Dan, you find obscure things relaxing. For example...
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Like the sounds of detonation.
Yeah, that relaxes me greatly. I have an app which just has explosions as my sound to go to sleep to every night. No, I'm joking. My house has a glass conservatory, like a glass roof conservatory, and to sit in there when it's raining.
Oh yeah.
Just listen to the rain pouring on the roof. That really just sends me to sleep. It's great. Absolutely brilliant. I love the rain when it's like nighttime. It's raining. I can hear the rain on my window. Yeah. I'm thinking, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm in for a good night's sleep tonight. What about you, Dan? What relaxes you? What sound relaxes you?
This is going to sound very odd, but race cars, like the
Doppler effect.
No. Like just. Specifically though, like the Nürburgring 24 hours, like just onboard cameras of cars going around Nürburgring at night time is just
interestingly enough, I actually had a really good night's sleep the other night when I fell asleep to a charity live stream of 23 hours of Zolder in iRacing.
Lovely.
And it was really relaxing, so I do understand what you mean.
Yeah, I mean... It's not something I actively listen to get to sleep or anything. It's just, you know...
When it's on, you'll give it a whirl.
Sometimes when it's on, sometimes when it's on, I feel like, I'm just gonna get a bit of
take advantage of this.
Yeah. Anyway, GODSENT are going to be wanting to put Wisla to sleep here, George, whether they like it or not.
Indeed.
Although they're not going to have the best of weaponry to try and do so. A couple M4s, the AWP for Lato, who's having a better game than he did on Overpass, to be fair. 20 kills for him this time. Molotovs and flashbangs going in. He needs to find the first shot. He does collect. Can't hit the no-scope to follow up, though. And Phelps is unable to trade too. Sparrow's left with 18 HP. And Wisla have the man advantage as well as the AWP taken out of GODSENT's hands.
Okay, well, this has been a bit of a disaster so far for GODSENT. Need to get these two remaining M4s into the action a little bit. I like the fact that they went conservative, as a matter of fact, with the two players who didn't have a buy here, because it does give them a chance to all get on the same page moving forward. I mean, they're not totally out of this game just yet. Of course, they are sitting stagnated on that point. There is still a chance, as a matter of fact, for Dumau to just go absolutely ham and eggs here in a second. He's got the first, just looking for the second. Unfortunately, it does just about evade him. Taco now just going to rampantly run into this site with a USP. That is optimistic, my friend. Barton, optimistically spraying and quite casually finding a frag, is going to think better of it. Just wants to try and live. Let the man live a happy and long life. Wisla not going to allow that. They want to hunt him down at all costs. I think keeping this weapon away
people who
would
just
be
keep
quite
getting
nice.
forced to who are these people who just keep getting forced to, you know, like constantly try and kill each other for the amusement of people who they don't even know. They're just living in some simulated world right now, George. These T's and CTs.
Yeah, yeah, they
Just
are.
over and over, just living like Groundhog Day.
To be fair, Groundhog Day is like, this is going to sound weird because it's not really a Christmas movie, but I watch Groundhog Day around Christmas quite often.
Okay.
Just one of those kind of comforting, wholesome movies that happens to have snow in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a family favorite, so we've always got to watch it, you know.
Yeah, and of course it is a family show. So,
family show. Yeah.
Yeah. Overpass.
Overpass. Thank you, OJ.
But yeah.
Okay.
Sparrow, what are you doing, you naughty, naughty boy? Things are going badly wrong for GODSENT now, aren't they?
This is about to be OT.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. No cash for GODSENT. They'll have the loss bonus coming through, but yeah, it's not going to be all too much fun. I mean, what loss bonus are they on right now? It's not much. It's not massive amounts. I think it's what, third stage? It'll be fourth stage at this, so 2,900. So not even max stage loss bonus. It's this is a difficult one. They'll if they can save these two rifles, well, the AWP and the rifle. Technically, I mean, an AWP is a sniper rifle, I guess. But yeah, if they can save these two weapons, there's opportunity in the next round to get a pretty strong buy through. Obviously, you'll have Lato and Barton sort of able to drop over weapons. They won't get much utility themselves, but the teammates they drop to will be able to get everything they need. But actually, I mean, they're still contesting this one. Lato finds the kill onto Jedka. I still don't think you're really in a position to win this one 2v3.
They're just doing damage. I think they're just doing as much damage as they can. Whether it's like an actual objective to try and win this round or not, I don't hate it because you're going to be force buying what you can into the next round anyway. I do hate it now that they've managed to die so foolishly, and I feel like Barton isn't really going to have the luxury of survival here either, as he too is being pinched out from middle. This poses a pretty difficult question. How do you want to die, my friend? Because you're going to die one way or another, and it is going to be by flashbang and bullets. 14 to 15, money categorically in the bin for GODSENT. They had a 5-round buffer to play with, and they have lost it all, Dan. It comes down to this or overtime, the final round or OT. Which is it going to be? Well, with this buy, you imagine it's going to be OT, don't you?
Oh, God, it's so bad, George. Why didn't they just save? Why didn't they just save? You've got 3 MP9s, the FAM has for Dumau. Phelps has a M4, but it's just not going to go well. And already Sparrow finds the opening kill. Dumau needs to trade that, and unfortunately unable to for the time being. It's Barton who actually gets the kill. MP9 long range in, fair enough. Well, that's it. Left this A side a little bit overexposed. Now PHR wants to push in. Dinks up again. Nade's going to go deep, but he still finds Dumau, and it looks like overtime, George. Unless Phelps and Lato can pull off something magical. And, well, that is less magical. Lato picks off in mid-air, and it's Phelps all alone. GODSENT. They had such a lead. They had so many advantages. It was 15 to 10. It's 5 in a row here for Wisla to force OT on the final map. I mean, I may be speaking a little bit early, but I don't think Phelps is going to be doing all too much in this 1v4. The bomb is basically exploded already, and he's barely gotten himself in towards a temple.
No kit
So it
either.
is going to be 15 for Wisla, and I mean, he gets a kill. That's it. It's going to be overtime. Wisla force it all the way back. We will be heading into overtime after a brief foray into the break screen.
to 15. It is the final map of the first round of ESL Pro League Conference Season 15. GODSENT, the Brazilians, up against Wisla, Krakow, the Poles. This is an interesting affair as GODSENT with 15 to 10 threw it all away to get back to this point, and now we hit overtime. An interesting state of affairs because now, as if GODSENT couldn't decide who was on the AWP earlier, Dan, now it's Taco's turn. Because why not?
What is going on? Why? It makes no sense. Taco's in towards Donut with the AWP. Right, okay. I just don't know. This doesn't make sense right now to me. GODSENT just can't pick a primary AWP right now, and... Okay. Enough about the AWP, but maybe Taco can get something rolling with it. We'll see. Maybe it's a change-up that GODSENT needed, and it might serve them well into this overtime, but... It is MR3, it's 16k, I believe, start money, so... You're not going to have to worry about too much about the economy in this situation. You've still got plenty to buy up in all of the rounds. Now you're just doing a little bit of damage to Phelps. He's down to 61 HP, but still has control towards a side house. As it looks like Wisla. I want to try and push in a little bit further towards this B site. Phelps is going to be met with a lot of players in just a short moment. Needs to at least get the first hit. If you can take down Goofy, it's Marcos with the AWP, and if Marcos misses the shot, that could be a potential trade or a potential extra kill coming through. And now you go, Marcos lets rip. No instant shot comes through, though, and now Marcos has been able to find a kill in return. Nade's just flying every which way. Dumal, though, brings it into the man advantage for GODSENT, and they maintain control of that side house. You've still got Lato inside of the B side as well, ready to try and punish players as they push forward. But actually, they were to catch Dumal towards the side house there, and now Lato is in an awkward position. This is going to spray down, doesn't find the kills. It's a little bit awkward. Finally takes down Sparrow, but it's PHR and it's Barton that will secure the round for GODSENT. Finally find 16, George. Just a little bit too late.
Yeah, I could have done that earlier, couldn't they? Would have been nice, wouldn't it? Just finding 16 when they were supposed to, rather than now. I mean, I suppose every round is important, but if we get to it, one thing that always annoys me, and this happens far too much, Dan. Teams get to overtime, they've had a big advantage, they've bottled it, get to overtime, and then 4-0 OT. If that happens, I'm finna lose my rag.
You're gonna yeet.
Yeah, yeet.
No. But obviously remember, this is a double elimination bracket for Pro League conference stage. So nobody's eliminated off the back of this game. You just sent to the lower bracket if you lose, and that's a great opening for Sparrow. Exactly what you want early on, taking down Lato, giving yourself a little bit of early space. And again, it's Taco ruling the AWP this round. This time he's gonna be actually had a little bit of a peek in towards mid, but now we'll back in towards the donut yet again. Wisla with the man advantage have all the room to play with, George.
They do indeed. All of the room. And they're going to make use of it as well. You can see that they are not really giving all that much pressure over towards the B site, just enough to elicit a little bit of utility usage. But over towards A, they're starting to stack up players. Fortunately, this is going to be a very one-dimensional hit, Dan. That does fill me with a little bit of dread. Not least because Barton is on some good form, but also because there is a potentially lethal crossfire here with Taco on the AWP. Barton does burn, but Taco is still in play. And now, with Dumal coming around the back, this is a potential for a really big problem. A 2-on-2 then ensues, by which point a lot of time has been burnt off the clock, and Taco maybe feels like he can go through this or something. Shot is very, very close, but Sparrow is in behind. He has not taken his chance. He's missed that first opportunity to take down Taco and now might not get a second one. As Phelps swinging in from behind takes down Marcos inside the site. That should block things off. Now drop the smoke or even just find the frag, and there it is for Taco. Beautiful work from the GODSENT side. They find themselves 17 now as well. Well held, well negotiated, and the temperament of Taco and Phelps for the patience to come through. The veterancy, they've played on those highest levels. They've played on the biggest stages, and it shows here. They just absolutely hold their nerve in that 2 versus 2. Unwavering, unfaltering, and unequivocally genius.
Potential here as well for the clean 3-0 in his first half of OT. Taco's going to do what he's done previously, try and go aggressive for the opening frag. Instead, he actually gets fully blinded up, unable to find the kills. But Jedka, he's down to 17 HP, George. Not really a fighting man anymore, but you could just spray with a smoke instead. Taco removed. Wasn't wielding the AWP in this round. It was Barton holding onto that weapon because Taco went for that more aggressive play with the M4 down mid. And thankfully, obviously didn't have the AWP for that. That would have been a bit ridiculous. But look at the amount of damage that's been done to Wisla. Yeah, you have the man advantage, but you have Jedka down on 15 HP, Sparrow on 27, PHR on 41. A lot of tender targets, some tender loins there, ready for GODSENT to try and chew them up.
GODSENT is smacking their lips, man. Whilst they are already down Taco, like you say, there's plenty of soft targets that could just be the victim of one good HE grenade from Barton, or how about one good mouse one hold from Lato or Phelps, because they're about to walk into the Lion's Den, and those juicy steaks, those tender steaks, are looking all the more tempting now they start to roll on in. Phelps immediately falls, though, so it doesn't matter how juicy they look. There's only going to be limited opportunities to find these frags. Lato just a little bit wayward with the spray, and now he's getting pinned on down as well. Suppressing fire coming in from almost every conceivable angle. Dumao surely has to try and find a way to bail them out here. Smokes have to dissipate, and they've now finally got a window in, an opportunity, an opening as these smokes start to open up. But there goes Goofy. Brilliant shot. Opening found. Lato taken out the equation. And now surely that leaves GODSENT in a very difficult position. No matter how weak these players are, Goofy's just getting the job done. High HP player down. Second high HP player down. Maybe there's a chance that Dumao can pull this off. Just got to find some bullets, but he can't find them in the end. It is going to be 17-16. Halftime quickly rolling around, but we're not going to wait much longer before we get into that second half. Quick switch of sides, and we're right back on into it. GODSENT need 2, Wisla need 3.
As you said, George, no time for waiting. Now Wisla. I mean, we saw both of these teams having pretty decent CT half all in all. Obviously, they ended 8-7 first half, and we ended up in OT, so both teams looking pretty strong. But you gotta worry for the Wisla side. Obviously, down by a round. The GODSENT looked really strong in those first 2 rounds. Let it slip a little bit. Taco getting caught early towards mid gave them a little bit of room to work with, and now GODSENT need to try and work out something themselves here. No AWP in play for them this round. They're happy just to wield the 5 AK-47s. And it looks like they really want to set up towards this B site. But look at the map, Barton. Look how far Barton's getting. He is currently being watched for by Jedka, and there you go, kill found. That's exactly what Wisla needed, just an opening frag. There's now GODSENT want to try and push in towards this B site, but there's going to be a stalwart defense surely to come on through. Not from Sparrow, though. Taco is able to take the first down. Goofy's only good for 1-for-1, so it's an even situation. That is until Lato just completely removes Jedka from the server. He's
quick.
Just a spectator now, and it's Marcos and PHR looking to try and 2v3 this to try and deny GODSENT match point yet again. Missed shot from Marcos, but he's still alive, still kicking, still wanting to play a part in this round. And now PHR has revealed his position. Can he find the shots required to keep this Wisla side in the round. Obviously, they're going to go for it. No point not to. Huge kill from PHR enables a little bit more room to work with, and now Marcos just looking deep, but they don't expect Flato to be close, and that is a perfect position. Marcos trades out at least, but now Dumao will start lurking through the side house, and the positioning could not be better for GODSENT. They find an 18th. Wisla now up against it, have to try and force it to another OT. Last time it was 5 in a row required, this time it's 2. And Wisla, do they have it in them, George? They're going for double ups.
Yeah, they come back from worse, and like you say, last time around they had to come down from 5 rounds. This time they've only got to make it 2, and they've got a pretty healthy wad of cash to do so. They've gone for that double AWP investment, though, and that money dries up very, very quickly when you bring out 2 of those very expensive weapons. Sparrow and Marcos both going to be taking point on those over towards the A site. Currently, Marcos taking an early gander, but nobody is going to meander into his crosshair. He's actually going to regret that decision later on, because it's over towards B where Phelps tries to run interference. Little does he know, PHR triple up set up as a matter of fact. Dan, he misses the first shot, but Marcos is right in on time. Taco trades away for Barton's life. So a 3-on-3 inside the site subsequently ensues. Jedka perfectly manages to land Lato through the smoke. That is a huge advantage to Ghana, and now Goofy tries to do the same, but unfortunately this time it's not going to have the same fortune. Dumao looks to try and press through, looks to try and find an angle, may just find it any second, but there's Sparrow with the AWP. Now Taco's got it all to do. Smoke down in his eyes, just going to hold that one. AK at his feet, can hold it for the spray if he hears anybody tap it. Now they're on it. What's he going to do? He has to peek wider. Peek wider. He might think that's the defuser, and I'm afraid, Taco, it is not. It's a valiant effort, a good job, irrespective of that, but even still, the rounds continue to go, and Wisla continue to fight.
Round yet again for the Wisla side. This time they aren't going to run triple ups, George. This time it is just the double ups. Marcos and Sparrow to wield both of them. Dumao looks aggressive towards mid. Almost gets the kill. Jedka is down low on HP. Can't get finished off, though. Dumao does take a bit of damage in return as well. He gets about a third of his HP chunked away from that engagement, but does force a bit of early control towards mid. And that's nice for the GODSENT side. It gives them a little bit more room to work with. Maybe not as much as you might have hoped, because you still got Marcos with that AWP over towards Donut, who's going to be making sure that nobody's going to be able to sort of make that cross towards Sniper's Nest. And Sparrow, easy kill for him. Lands it, not a problem onto Phelps. He's been caught a couple times now towards that B site on those lurks, and unfortunately hasn't been working out. It certainly works out for PHR, though.
Oh, no.
It looks like Wisla are going to force us to another overtime here. They're going to go 18-18 unless Barton and Lato can find massive success. Make it just Barton. Never mind. It's all gone wrong, George.
Oh dear, Dan, it's all gone tits up again. 18-18, overtime continues. No breaks, just going to carry on through. That's how it be. Marcos, Sparrow, both of them on that AWP setup again. This time, GODSENT haven't really been sporting the AWP all that much for the last couple of rounds, which I don't mind too much. I think that GODSENT, if they're passing the AWP around, it probably implies to me they don't have somebody who's totally comfortable on the weapon, so they pick it up as they choose. That's fine. I mean, Team Liquid won the Grand Slam without having somebody who is a proper AWPer in their remit, so I mean, it's a possible and viable strategy, just not one that's really stood the test of time. But they're going to put it in play here anyway, because if you've got the option for it, why not take it? As Taco falls, Dumao now has a lot more weight resting on his shoulders. Or how about Phelps just lurks through a smoke and catches Goofy with his pants down? That's going to be quite helpful, I would imagine. Brings it back into a 4-on-4, and now gives Wisla a little bit more to scratch at their heads and stroke their beards and think about.
GODSENT struggled on that T side. Only able to pick up the one round to start things out, and that was due to some really good position over by the B site in the after plant. As now Sparrow maybe could have found a timing shot if he got it, obviously the timing right during that smoke, but instead he just sits back for the time being, launches a nade out. There's a little bit of damage as the bomb gets planted, but unfortunately, maybe you wish he would have taken an earlier shot, because he's just been splayed out by Barton on that AK-47. No further part to play in the round from Sparrow, and it's now a man advantage for GODSENT, and Dumau, a little bit of damage through the smoke is just going to make Wisla a little bit uncomfortable trying to go for this retake. They're going to have to. The timer's starting to run thin, and they do have the kits at least, so there's the 5 seconds defuse, but they just don't have the time. There's no point pushing for this now. There's no way you can win the round. Just Phelps just find a couple. It's just Marcos who has to save. And yeah, I mean, pushing in there with literally like 10 seconds on the bomb timer, if not less, that's just not going to work out. That
Bit of a
is not
suicide
gonna work
mission.
out. When there's 3 or 4 players alive on that T side, you just have no chance.
Bit of a suicide mission. And GODSENT just can't seem to close these games out right now, Dan. I mean, thinking about this, right? Put your brain to it. Engage. GODSENT have won the round after they could have won the game, I think 3 times now. Maybe 2 or 3 times. So they've
Well,
had a...
they had
two times. So this...
points.
Yeah, so they're just struggling, basically. My point is, they're just struggling. They're really not able to close this up. What am I seeing? What am I seeing? Why is there a Mac 10 on the A site? Why is it here in overtime? And why is it working? I've got so many questions and just not enough answers. Marcos finally gives us one in return, but it comes at a hefty cost as well to Barton's HP. This quick take is going to come quickly undone if they don't move quickly to secure some good post-plant positioning here for GODSENT. So he's being boosted up on top of this box at the moment. I mean, this is a strange old position to look into. He's just going to try and chill for the time being. Just looking for somebody to overstep, and he might have found it. There's a gun barrel, there's a shot, there's a kill, but Sparrow does trade instantaneously. Now, Lato. Oh, that's quick. Oh, that's so very quick from Lato, and it gives Taco a chance. It gives him now a 1 versus 1 against Jedka, who's tapped the bomb. Out swings Taco, and out swings the round. GODSENT find 20, Wisla find the bottom of the barrel, and now they're going to have to find themselves a round to bail themselves out. You go down 3-0 on this T-half for GODSENT, surely that's the death sentence. Surely that's the nail in the coffin.
Oh man. Like, the thing is, part of me wants to believe in Wisla being able to pull it back if it does go to there, just because they've done it every time so far, but there's got to be a limit. There has to be a limit to how much you can do. And oh, Marcos, oh, please hit this next shot, thank you. Does eventually get taken down, but at least gets one. That was painful. Barton not gonna get taken down though by Jedka, because Dumau in with the save on that AWP. Claps him down. It looks like GODSENT are going to be in a pretty good stead here to find the 3-0 in this half, and then Sparrow can say much about it. Dumau to trade out, so it's still going to be the GODSENT man advantage, but PHR, is he going to be able to find the massive damage that's been found from this angle before when they try and get these bombs planted? A little bit onto Lato there. Going to be thankful he didn't stick the plant, but now Barton swings around the corner, knows that PHR is used both of his bullets, but Sparrow, the no-scope, is giving him a chance. There's still a minute on the clock, so he's not going to be able to play with time. Oh, the beautiful no-scope, but unfortunately the double peek is enough. Barton will shut it down, and GODSENT find 21, the clean 3-0 George, and now Wisla have it all to do.
Surely, Dan, surely that's the death sentence. 3 rounds now. I mean, obviously, yeah, we said it last time around, but Wisla have come back from worse. 5-0, remember, they came back from at 10-15. So, 3 rounds? Surely that's nothing. Come on, pull your socks up. Give us a fight. GODSENT giving everything here, and they still don't look like they've really got much more to give. Both teams look like they're out on their feet for a boxing term here. There's now, oh, Jedka, he's just feeling it. He's just feeling the game, isn't he? It's like the force, it's flowing through him. He's just going to decide to try and press up on this smoking middle. This is huge amounts of territory gained for Wisla early on as well. Goofy also getting pretty up close and personal in towards Donut. Bomb also making its way in towards the A site. It's so weird. I'm so used to seeing Ancient being decided by a number of B site hits, but now it's the A site that seems to be the one that's where all the action's taking place. Jedka forced to back away as a Molotov sails in towards his position. Taco forced to burn a smoke to try and keep his life as well. Barton, young man, so much to do, but Marcos strips him of his chance. Now a second shot soon to be on the offering. Such a weird position to be in, but big damage dealt there as well for Dumal. Still, players just coming and filtering into this A site, just getting picked apart every single time they elect to do so. What is going on there from Taco as Jedka just takes him absolutely freely. Now Phelps and Lato with it all to do. It's in a pretty good position to try and contend with this one, but the smoke in his eyes is going to make it oh so very difficult, and Lato is just a little bit too far away from him for it to be comfortable. That's going to be all she wrote for this round, so Wisla keep the heart beating for just a little bit longer.
Well, there you go, 19. 2 more required. T-side, it's possible. It's possible, George. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but it's possible. So they'll bring out Marcos on that AWP once more. They'll keep it rolling and just rolling through these rounds as much as they can. GODSENT. Look what they're going for, though. The double up, and Barton wielding both of them. We'll see if they are going to be able to find success. I imagine Taco will play in towards mid or donut with that AWP, and then Barton will play over towards the A side. That's a solo anchor over in that direction. But Taco is being spammed down, tagged up. He's down to 10 HP. Phelps isn't much better, just 44. But now Taco strikes, gets the kill onto Marcos, removes the T side up, but he has lost Phelps in the process. He tried to go aggressive over by that B ramp and ends up paying the price as Dumal is just going to try and lock down Excavation for the time being. That means that his teammate Lato inside of the B site can just focus on the one direction. But Goofy, long range on the AK, not a problem. Taco is melted, and now you have the man advantage for Wisla and a potential 20th on the board, George.
Dan, I don't want to believe it anymore. I don't want to believe that we can carry on going. We're trapped in a perpetual cycle. Not done yet, though, of course. I mean, let's not discount GODSENT from this round, as Lato's actually managed to pick off Sparrow. Might that be the incentive that Wisla needed to get out of this B site and go and duck it over towards A instead? I think it might well have been. Lato has just ran enough distraction, ran enough interference to try and put them off the scent over here. Now Dumal waits towards middle. This could be a frag if he's patient enough. It seems that this time around he's not. Wants to give the assistance to Barton, who's just holding the cross for the moment. Flashbangs raining in. There's the first shot, and that's the bomb as well. Now they've got it. It's clear as day. Dumal can try and get in towards the temple. He's going to go for it, but around the back, here is the dagger. Misses the first shot, but Jedka doesn't fumble. Manages to find it. It's a bit frantic from Dumal, but Jedka's still in behind. Lato's got to come for him, but there it is. Dumal's done it. It's 22-19. GODSENT pull it off, and that, my friends, is one